Sneako. You. I have had it up to here with Sneako. I have been tolerant. I have been far too nice. I have been taken for a sucker. You don't want my friendship? You don't want me as a friend? Let's see how you like me as an enemy.
Sneako has had a falling out with a monster that he helped create. Sneako and Nick Fuentes both have had their disagreements in the past, but this recent argument taps into the person that Sneako really is, according to his former friend Nick Fuentes, that he helped elevate at the peak of his career back in 2022. Sneako has been accused of betraying him.
Like you give him a chance.
No, he's a terrible friend. He is honestly one of the worst friends I have ever had. And that I get angrier the more that I think about it.
And he's also accused of not believing anything he says.
Again, Sneako is not even a person. Sneako is a large language model that just calculates like sound bites to say on a stream. So it's like play the victim, act non-bothered. Like that's all that he can really do. So he can never talk about it in a real way because he's not a real person.
And Sneako ultimately is being painted as a bad friend. This beef originally started when Dan Bilzerian tweeted, "I think Nick Fuentes is a Fed. Constant division, endless infighting, defending Epstein, then attacking a Christian man only to endorse a Jewish Democrat woman after saying the left wants his death. The contradictions never end." Dan Bilzerian is not really sure what the status of that is currently, but was supposed to be running as a Republican candidate for the Senate. And Bilzerian kind of hopped into the movement that Nick Fuentes was talking about, a certain group of people north of 8 or more years ago, and was banned off of every platform for it. But Nick Fuentes wants his fans to vote for the Democrats in the Senate because it would put more pressure on the Republican Party. Fuentes denied being a Fed and argued that Dan Bilzerian has only become anti-Israel since it became a more fashionable position. He claimed that Dan Bilzerian's views are an example of, quote, low IQ anti-Semitism.
And typically this takes the form of very repetitive, very overly simplified, very base kinds of sentiment. It's people every day saying, Israel, it's the Jews, Israel sucks. We've heard this every day, all day, for like 3 years. And there's a contingent of people that I don't even know that they really even care about the issue, know that much about, or even understand the issue on a deep level.
Sneako, who's friends with both of them, then gave his own take on this beef.
Knowing both of these people for several years, I know Dan Bilzerian very personally. I've known him for a long time. We speak. I've known Nick Fuentes for years. I don't have any sort of evidence, I don't anything I could point to tell you that either one is a Fed. And I think it's playing into their hand. I'm going to stay true to what I've been saying nonstop. They want us to be divided. They want to divide and conquer, and they're rubbing their hands together. You know how happy they are? The Loomers, the Jigsaws, the Mark Levins, the Barry Weisses, the Ben Shapiros, looking at this, seeing the woke, as they say, start to crash out on each other and attack each other worse than they ever attack us. They love it. It's playing into their hand.
Initially, Sneako wanted to present himself as a neutral figure and not take sides. However, his subsequent actions told a different story. Controversially, Sneako called Dan Bilzerian on his stream.
Ridiculous. I mean, Dan, do you see my perspective right now? Look, they're ramping this up and trying to push Iran war with the terrorist attack at a masjid. People just died in San Diego. Like, I think that you have a very powerful voice when it's used properly. I see it as a waste of time to be, focusing on the infighting. Although you do have grievances and stuff, there's got to be a more effective use.
I don't think it's a waste of time at all, because I think what Nick is doing is constant counter signaling. He's like downplaying Epstein, saying Epstein was the coolest guy ever, saying he wasn't a selling his merch. Then he coins this term low IQ anti-Semitism to basically combat anybody that wants to talk about anti-Semitism, then gatekeep it so only super smart people can talk about it. And then the moment somebody says anything about the Charlie Kirk narrative, they're a low IQ anti-Semite if they don't accept the official Charlie Kirk narrative, which we all know is a bunch of bull. So what is he doing? He's pushing all these Fed talking points.
Sneako tried to present himself as a mediator on this call, but gave very light pushback when Dan was heavily insulting his supposed friend Nick Fuentes.
This is not an attack on you. I'm saying, like, Fuentes, for instance, he could be using that to try and help the movement, to try and, like, prop up other people, to try and, you know, promote Massey, to try and promote, you know, Casey, do all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And instead, he's focused on making money and getting clicks and saying sensational, crazy shit because it'll get views. And when he gets on these mainstream platforms, he keeps it real safe so he can get on other mainstream platforms. And he doesn't talk about the important because he's worried about, you know, making money on his channels. So that's what I was talking about. It wasn't like an attack on you. I'm saying, like,
okay. Yeah, I think it might be valuable to see that if you think the same things after you watch that Dave Nick one. I think most of the things you're still gonna hold the same view, but you might change your perspective a little bit on others.
Things got worse when, on a later stream, Sneako spoke about how the left and the right should unite against Israel and started comparing Dan and Nick in terms of influence.
Who's on that list? You got, to bring the left, because that's the 2028 election, I'm telling you. You got Hassan. You got Nick. You got, I'll put Dan on the list. You got Dan. You got Sneako. You got Myron. Let's see. Is there anybody else who should be on this? Like Israel critical streamers within the space? Shut up about Cheezer, bro. Jake Future. So who has the most potential to do it? Let's analyze this, no bias. Hassan, absolutely not. He's just got the left, bro. It's just like I don't see a chance at the right wing being able to get him. I think it's about, okay, let's give him 5% chance that that's possible. Nick, there was many opportunities for him to try to unify the left and the right, post Charlie Kirk and that rhetoric. And you saw even what he tweeted today. He keeps talking a lot about left-right. I don't think the left likes him at all. I mean, he's clearly been against them. I see this as about maybe 10% chance that he can even get the left. Dan, much higher than the other two. I think Dan getting the left and the right together, he does use words that are provocative to them. They get offended by slurs and stuff. I'll put Dan at the chances that he can unite them, and they're polling for say 5%, 35%. Myron at getting the left and the right, I think lower than Nick and Hassan. There's no, I don't see that. I'll put that at a 2%. Actually, let me just put this at 0%. Let me just put this at 0%. And being real, at getting the left and the right, I have a lot of work to do. At getting the left, I think it's probably about the same as Dan. Dude. I'm also going to say, like, right now, I would also say 35, to be honest.
And these comments, along with the Bulgarian interview, infuriated Nick Fuentes.
Yesterday, Memorial Day weekend, he goes on stream and he goes, you know, Nick Fuentes needs to be more of a unifier. The way he treats people's really inconsistent. He trashes Candace, then he wants to do a stream. This guy needs to do this. And so I saw that clip and I was like, you know what? No big deal. That's kind of like my new motto. It's like, don't get tilted, don't get mad. No big deal, right? I'm like, whatever. Then today, fresh, Monday, I'm watching a clip from his stream. He goes, let's look at all the different Israel critical streamers. Who's going to unify the anti-Israel movement? Nick Fuentes, 10%. Dan Bilzerian, 35%. Me, 35%. I'm like, okay. You know what? Fuck Sneako. Fuck you. I have had it up to here with Sneako. I have been tolerant. I have been far too nice. I have been taken for a sucker. You don't want my friendship? You don't want me as a friend? Let's see how you like me as an enemy.
Then Nick gave some further context to the Dan Bilzerian interview.
Okay, pal, I go out to New York. He doesn't want to do the collab. Then he takes a 30-minute call from Dan Kazarian on me. He says, I'm sorry, that was the wrong thing to do. I say, okay, I'll let it slide. I still like the guy. And then it's just an unrelenting stream of sneak dissing. It's almost like it's in the name, sneak dissing me. He's not a unifier. He treats people badly. He's not going to unify the movement. It's going to be this loudmouth, manlet Jew that's going to lead the movement. Oh, okay. That's the way it's going to be? Iceman used to be a nice man. Now it's on site.
So this interview with Bilzerian was done while Nick was in New York and spending time with Sneako. Nick Fuentes has never tried to unite the left or right. That's definitely not happening. But Sneako's comments implied that Dan was more persuasive and knowledgeable than him about Israel.
In regards to Israel and the Middle East and American politics and Nick Fuentes is the best suited at explaining that, and Hassan as well. Like, they are the most knowledgeable, I believe, in regards to these things. And I would say they're the best at speaking, Nick and Hassan. And so Nick is offended because essentially it's a slight at his expertise and his intelligence.
And Nick Fuentes saw this as another example of Sneako being a bad friend and brought up the fact that Sneako had also fallen out with the Tate brothers.
That's why everybody he encounters, whether it's like Tate or whoever else, they don't like him. Everybody knows this about him. He only cares about his YouTube channel. That is all he cares about. He is a horrible friend. He only cares about clout. Everything is an angle with him. Everything is, what is this going to do for my career? What is the community going to think? What is the community going to think if I say this?
In fact, there's one specific comparison where Nick Fuentes and Sneako were placed in very similar situations with the greatest of all time and responded in different ways. Both Fuentes and Sneako became friends, collaborators, co-workers with Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, during his pivot towards the far right and his campaign for the 2024 election. When doing political interviews, Ye often brought someone with him who he felt might be able to better articulate his viewpoint. At that time, it seemed like Nick Fuentes was his go-to guy because he even made an appearance on his own show.
Yeah. I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who was they though? We can't say they is,
corporate
can we?
press. I'm not using I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking.
It is
about
them though, isn't it? I mean, because
No.
because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
What do I mean? Like, okay, so how about, are you leaving?
Are you referring to the press?
He's gone.
When Ye appeared on Tim Pool's podcast, he brought Fuentes. When Ye was being interviewed by Piers Morgan in Spain, he had Sneako by his side, and Ye walked off in a similar fashion.
Where's he gone, Sneako?
That's it for Ye. But it's nice to meet you, Piers.
Where's he gone?
I think he's going back to work. There's several things he's working on. I was not aware he was going to leave like this, but it seems like he got upset about the...
So it's all just a game, is it? Is that the idea?
Followers. I mean, life is a video game, is it?
No, I just wondered what the point of this exercise was. Was he supposed to do an interview or not?
Are you supposed to do an interview? But I mean, the amount of Twitter followers, something like that, it's patronizing for no reason. You said his name incorrectly. You know his name is Ye. This is very public about that. Hopefully we could do it. I think this was good. We were prepared for a good interview. But come on, you know what you were doing.
What do you think I'm doing?
I think you were trying to patronize very intentionally by getting those two things, under his skin. Maybe it could have been about past interviews or because of what happened yesterday. But, I mean, this information is not that difficult to get right.
And from Nick's perspective, this was very revealing of each other's character.
Ye walks out of Tim Pool, you get up and follow. Ye walks out of Piers, Sneako stays and chats it up. That's the difference.
That's 100% true. And that is 100% true. I mean, those are just moments when you have to make a decision. A split-second decision. I had been trying to get on Tim Pool my whole career. I get on with Ye. Ye walks off after 5 minutes. Yeah, the thought crossed my mind, do I stay? Do I leave? And my first instinct was, he brought me here. If he's going, I'm going. My first thought is, he's the guest. He's the man here. He brought me here. If he's not with it, I'm not with it. Because that's just how it works. It's called reciprocity. If somebody is putting you on, then you have to graciously reciprocate. The person you come with, that's the person you go with. He brought me to the show. If he's out, I'm out. And yeah, I was like, damn, I wish we got to stay longer. Damn, I wish I could have been on the show. It's a shame. This would have been a great opportunity. But you know what? It wasn't my opportunity. It was given to me. It was given to me by somebody else. And so if you accept something from someone, in my view, you implicitly accept the terms. I feel like this is something that's kind of like lost on people these days, just in everything in general.
Sneako, to be fair, stood up for Ye when speaking with Piers Morgan, but this isn't the only time where questions were raised about Sneako's loyalty as a friend. In 2024, Sneako and Nick Fuentes were set to launch a new podcast called Controlled Chaos alongside Myron Gaines and an individual by the name of Elijah Schaefer. You can assume he's as controversial as the other three, if not more. Given the significant overlap in their audiences, there was a lot of hype and excitement for this podcast and a lot invested into it. However, Nick had to inform his fans that it was going to be canceled.
Well, there is a little e-drama. One other thing. So we were supposed to do this big podcast this weekend. Me, Sneako, Myron, Elijah, much anticipated and everything. I don't know what we're going to do with that because Sneako is not going to be on the podcast anymore. So we have me, Elijah, and Myron. I think we're going to look for a fourth, but I just want to let you guys know, just so you're aware, it's going to be just a trio and maybe we'll bring on a guest, special guest or something. So speaking of e-drama, I said that the other day, and as usual, everybody's trying to, look, I love Sneako. I'm a ride or die for Sneako always. I talk a lot of shit, but it's no hate. But yeah, I did just want to update you and let you know we were supposed to do this big Controlled Chaos podcast. That was the name of it. Me, Elijah, Myron, and Sneako. It is now minus Sneako. So we'll see what we're going to do. We're going to have to figure out an alternative plan because it's just going to be us three. So I'll let you guys know as soon as I can. Still going to do a kick stream this week. And I think we're still going to do something over the weekend, but just without Sneako. I think he's doing something with Aiden Ross, BB Netanyahu, and Jamie Dimon instead. I think they're doing a controlled order. they're doing another podcast. It's called Controlled Opposition. That's a joke. Just a joke. We're doing a podcast called Controlled Chaos, and I think it's going to be Sneako, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, and Tommy Robinson, and they're doing a podcast called Controlled Opposition. It's jokes. Not personal, no hatred. And I love Sneako, but it's kind of like, bruh. He did dip. He did kind of bail on us.
Sneako at the time was trying to get his YouTube channel back and felt that this podcast would harm his chances of doing that. And this led to a very heated conversation between Nick and Sneako.
But YouTube is the Matrix, dude. Your baby is the Matrix. That's how the Matrix controls you.
Regardless of what it's called, I wanted to see my catalog again. Even if I never posted on there, having that back meant a lot to me. Whatever you want to call it, and you said yourself the show was a waste. So then why stand on this high ground about this show that I bailed on when it benefits nobody? You didn't want to do it, and we all knew it was going to start.
What you just said about your YouTube being your baby,
yeah.
That's just everything in there right there.
That's my discography. That's everything there.
You have the video.
That's my life story. Yeah, but it's not the same. I created them for YouTube, having the comment section there.
You're just attached to this, I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be on YouTube. It's more than you want the integrity of being free.
No, I just want my YouTube channel back. I want to be able to, that was like a painting. Everything I did on there, I curated for that channel. Oh. Maybe you don't understand it, you don't get it, but
it's not that deep.
It's not that, it's not really yours to say. It's something that I created. It's something that I did. And
well, at the end of your life, you have your YouTube channel. There you go.
What do you mean?
I'm saying, when we all pass on to the grave, some people will have their YouTube channel. They will have their conference of legitimacy from the system. I'm a YouTuber, I have my channel, here's my catalog. And some people have their actions. They stood up for what was right.
So, from Nick's perspective, this Dan Bilzerian interview was just another example of Sneako prioritizing himself, his YouTube channel, above all else. Eventually, Sneako responded to all of this pushback, but did so in a way that played to his strengths. When Nick mobilized his online audience against Sneako, he would disappear from live streaming for several days. And instead of talking about it directly, he posted a very artistic video that took him days to edit, which juxtaposed all of the hate he gets with all of the positive work he's trying to do.
This is the new motto. No more unity. My new message, unity. And if you see Sneako in New York, I want you to tell him on my behalf, tell him you.
Indonesia is home to nearly 300 million, with 90% of them practicing Islam.
In this video, he implied that Fuentes wanted his fans to physically harm him. And this is convenient because their separation and their beef began after Sneako was attacked in the middle of New York City. But these were unrelated because they were on good terms before that. The video also promoted his new content pivot towards embracing Islam more, which he had already done in his Southeast Asia tour, although he had converted or reverted, depending on who you ask, what term they use, several years prior. But most importantly of all, it dodged the main issue, that he was being a bad friend. Then Sneako uploaded another video titled "Nick Fuentes Tells His Fans to Attack Me" and used a lot of fancy editing to sensationalize the criticism being directed towards him. And nobody was ever told to attack him. He said, at most, say something to him.
My new message, unity. And if you see Sneako in New York, I want you to tell him on my behalf, tell him you.
This is what ex-girlfriends do. Get the fuck away from me now. Like, do your thing, that's okay. I put you on, you're welcome. All those people, how many of them? Zerka says I made his career. Ryan Dawson, I gave him money when he said he was poor. Tate's, I defended when they were in jail. Nick does his thing and says Tate should be locked up and put in jail.
Andrew and Tristan Tate should be put in jail for making...
Now they're glazing each other and sucking each other's. And then even in that speech that I went to speak at his thing to help him out, he says, oh, I don't want to say lock the Tates up because Sneako is friends with the Tates and he's defending them.
I have to apologize to Sneako in advance because I'm going to say some things I know he's not going to like. Not about him, but about a couple of his friends, the Tate brothers. But Sneako always defends them, so I don't want to throw him under the bus here.
Look now that they get each other's in each other's mouths. What's going on?
Then Sneako explained why he was so loyal to Dan Bilzerian. Earlier this year, Nick and Sneako were part of the infamous group of people known as the HYPOCRISY in January, who were playing Ye's song Double H in a Sprinter van and later on at a nightclub in Miami. Andrew Tate, who initially got most of the blame, quickly deflected all of this blame onto Sneako.
I have to guess. I think Sneako may have put the song on, who I'd met many times before.
And when Sneako faced a heated backlash, he claimed that it wasn't Nick Fuentes who came to his defense, but Dan Bilzerian, although Nick did say that he didn't like the move by Tate and understood that they were in a position where their freedom could be targeted if they didn't fold and apologize. But he felt that they shouldn't have thrown it on Sneako.
Not only that, when the Tates then go dox my family, when they go attack me, they go on the PBD show and say that he played it, he played the song. Were any of these friends, were they saying anything? No. They didn't say a word. You know who did? Dan Bilzerian. Dan Bilzerian said that the Tates were wrong. He was the only one. The rest of them, no, it's okay. So now what? You're welcome for putting you on. You're welcome for making all your careers. And it is what it is, man.
As expected, Fuentes continued to attack Sneako. Nick posted on Telegram a tweet from Sneako in 2023 where he wrote, "The halftime show is going to be a satanic ritual. Sports is for bots." And contrasted this when Sneako recently posted himself wearing a Knicks jersey and captioned it with "Nixon for Inshallah." He then compared Sneako to ChatGPT.
Again, Sneako is he's not even a person. Sneako is a large language model that just calculates like sound bites to say on a stream. So it's like, play the victim, act non-bothered. Like, that's all that he can really do. So he can never talk about it in a real way because he's not a real person.
And Sneako gave a very interesting response.
Yeah, I was friends with the guy. That's why I'm not going to insult Nick Fuentes, and I never have. Because I was friends with him. He was in my apartment 2 weeks ago. We were hanging out playing UFC. Oh, like, and people are, yeah, like video games to Goy Slap too. I play video games. You just have to pick your poison. Yeah, he was a friend. And he's saying things like saying that my religion's fake, that I'm this, I'm a low IQ, I'm ChatGPT, I'm a scumbag, I'm terrible. Okay, bro, but then why were you friends? This is why you're not going to see me say that, because I keep people around that I think are good people. Obviously, you cross the line when you try to incite violence on me and tell people to harass me, even if it doesn't happen. But yeah, bro, all the people that I promote, all the people that I put on, make these people's careers time and time again. I did it because I see the good in them.
And this taps into one of the many inconsistencies with Sneako that people have found and why he's getting so much hate. Sneako took issue with Nick Fuentes for mocking his religion, but this is something Nick Fuentes had done many times in the past, even when they were on great terms together and speaking directly to Sneako's face.
What about the atheists? Are they race traders?
No.
So you're only a traitor if you believe in God, but the people who disbelieve in God...
You're a traitor if you believe in this towelhead religion.
But this isn't where the inconsistencies end. Sneako also took issue with Nick Fuentes' repeated insults towards him.
Bro thinks he's tough wearing the... Yo, when are you going to get off my bro? It gets to a point. When are you... You're welcome. I put you on. But, okay, you're mad I didn't collab. You're going to keep crying. When are you going to just hop off my... Is it just nonstop? Right? There's got to be other content. There's no way that I'm that interesting. Like, it gets to a...
Sneako thinks that this back and forth has run its course, but is also happy to make fun of the Tate brothers months after his beef with them ended.
I was in the middle of a meeting, which was going super, super well.
Wow.
And I ran past 7 o'clock, so I made the conscious decision to push this back by 25 minutes. I even said on my Twitter that I'm live in 5 minutes ago. So I do apologize to anybody who's been waiting around this entire time. I hope you've been doing your push-ups, and I hope you've been doing something useful.
So is that what people are doing? So are the Tristan and Andrew Tate fans that are still left, they're just waiting for the stream to start? Where is he? What do I do?
As well as taking shots at the Tate brothers, he's happy to diss people he has no beef with either. This was his response to Kaysan, Faiz Kaysan, a descendant of Iranian immigrants, celebration about the assassination of Iran's leader.
Kaysan, are you that stupid to think that they tried to kill Khamenei, and if he is really, this is true, that this is about the protesters or the innocent Iranians, you stupid idiot?
And here's his response to Pokimane choosing not to get married yet.
How is he ever going to love you more than you love yourself, Pokey? You are in love with yourself. Like, the ring thing, proposing yourself, that's probably a promotion, but this is just like a different level of self-involvement. I've never seen a woman love herself this much.
And while Sneako is currently all about unity, last year he declared that he was an unapologetic hater.
Although we're love speech, I like hating. I enjoy being a hater. Not hating somebody like I'm gonna kill you. I don't hold hate in my heart, right? I don't want to like hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody. But when something sucks, like especially content, I want to tell you how bad it is because it sucks. Twitch, all of you, like these people make terrible content. Terrible. Everyone on YouTube, bro, I am a hater. I hate your content. I hate what you're doing. I hate your mentality. I hate the community you're trying to cultivate. I hate how fraudulent you are. I hate the way your voice sounds. I hate the way you clip farm. I hate the way you dress. I hate the way you talk. I hate your fake lingo. I hate the fact that you need to be in these friend groups and do the friends content. Will they, won't they? Are they gonna date? And ooh, they kissed. I hate it.
These constant pivots have left Sneako with a less devoted fan base than he could have potentially had. Nick Fuentes, meanwhile, has one of the most loyal and radical fan bases on the internet, in part because of his consistency in the message and unwaveringness to it for the better part of a decade. You can particularly see this in this Twitter exchange where a fan account posted this montage of Sneako and got just under 1,000 likes. In the replies, Nick Fuentes posted a picture of a cornball and received over 20,000. And for many people, this exemplifies how Nick Fuentes won the beef, because Sneako himself was celebrating ratioing Tristan and Andrew Tate early the same year.
Sneako clip.
Look, it's a cheese reviewer.
Sneako, you gotta worry about getting back on Nick Fuentes. I saw your tweet got 800 likes. Nick Fuentes replied cornball emote, and that shit had 18,000 likes. I've never seen somebody get ratioed so bad. All right, you need to take your beef with Nick Fuentes, bro. He's absolutely crushing you right now. Okay.
And on a more recent stream, Nick gave even more context on his trip to New York that destroyed his friendship with Sneako. If true, this is yet another damning reflection on Sneako as a friend.
He literally says to me, he goes, I can't do the stream in New York because don't you think that's going to be bad for me? Those were literally his words. I said, do you want to do the stream in New York? He goes, yeah, but don't you think that would be really bad for me? I said, what do you mean? He goes, Dan, Ian, Jake, all my friends.
And this issue of Sneako falling out with people seems to be a growing pattern. Before Nick Fuentes, it was Andrew Tate, or Fresh from Fresh and Fit. Before them, it was Kai Cenat, Agent 00, or Young Don. Nick Fuentes can now be added to the list of friendships that have run their course.